Brisbane final, which was won by the Bulgarian Grigor Dimitrov against 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖆𝑛.
Grigor Dimitrov to serve.
Nishikori number 9 in the world, Dimitrov number 19, but that's really not accurate. This is a contest between two quality players. Sit back and enjoy.
Play. $15.
That from the word go. Here we go, he said.
Well, if this is a sign of what we're going to get tonight, this is pretty special. We saw that movement you spoke about earlier from Grigor Dimitrov in that point. The ability to defend out of the forehand corner and just this feel backhand up the line. 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖆𝖛 didn't do a lot wrong in that point.
Well, this is how he came out against Millman. The first few points of the match, you look at him and you think, he's on.
One thing for us just to keep an eye on, that first serve percentage was quite low during that Millman match as well as he was playing. He would have liked to serve a little bit better. As I said, I spoke to 𝕽𝖆𝖉𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝖛. That was one of the things they mentioned. He's going to have to serve a lot better against 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖆𝖛 than he did the other night also.
Dimitrov.
As easy as you like. 4 straight points to open the match. And Hawkeye tells us that Nishikori could have actually challenged because the serve was out, the one that he was pointing to Renaud Liechtenstein in the chair. What a start, though, from the Bulgarian. A few of those dark clouds just hovering over the tennis centre, but inside here we've got that above us, so that'll help.
It's just an eerie silence in here right now, isn't there? There's just that air of anticipation about this match.
Yeah. I was just thinking, if you got quarter-final, semi-final, say, between these two at the Australian Open, you'd be looking forward to it. How lucky are we to get that a few weeks early?
Two early moves forward from 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖆𝖛. As good as he is from the baseline, he knows that Grigor's going to try and take that first step in the point and try and get on top early, so he's taking that initiative early also, which is good to see.
Nishikori doesn't possess the thunderous serve that sometimes Dimitrov can come up with. He can really get them down there between 215, 220 sometimes.
Too good. We saw in the match against Millman, Grigor Dimitrov point from there. If he's just going to make returns against 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖆𝖛, this is the sort of thing he's going to do. He's going to take the initiative and get up on top with the point early.
And the respective service games, just what both players wanted.
1 game on.
Yeah, no signs of early nerves from either of these players.
It's a match that promised to be of the highest quality, and of the 8 points so far that we've seen in the match, It's looking that way. It's looking to be confirmed. Every single point with the server so far.
15 love.
As a player, it's a sort of match early in the season that you want also. You want to test where you're at, especially with the Australian Open only 2 weeks away.
Let. First service.
Less than 2 weeks away now.
One of the more glorious shots in this great sport.
30 love.
And it's something you worked on a lot in the off-season, this backhand up the line. He hit it well. He's hit it so well so far in this tournament. It starts with another good one there.
(30-15).
Finally a point against the server.
Returns incredibly well, 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝖛.
He'll need to return well tonight, because even though Dimitrov was not necessarily reaching the heights that he wanted to with his first serve percentage, what was impressive about him was the number of points that he won when that first serve went into play, and he started in a similar vein tonight.
Yeah, Dimitrov.
How's that to whet your appetite? 3 wonderful games and we're on serve. Dimitrov leading 2-1.
2-1.
A sense of anticipation about this match, and the first 3 games has done nothing to dull that, Sam. That was quality stuff.
What, 6 winners so far from Grigor Dimitrov. So he's come out in very similar fashion to what we've seen so far in this tournament. And as you said, an air of anticipation, and we're expecting this to be a quality encounter, and that's what we've got so far for the 7 minutes that we've been out on court.
Not only is it 6 winners, unforced error count, 0. Nishikori's had a couple. He's had just the 1 winner so far, but looks sharp in his opening service game.
Time.
Night 4 at the 2019 Brisbane International. 2 of the quality players in world tennis facing off in the quarterfinal to see who's going to meet Jeremy Chardy of France in the semis. We're on serve. It's been high quality. Nishikori serving at 1-2. And we mentioned Grigor can get it out there, Sam. Hit the last point of that previous game, 219.
Up there with the biggest this week for the whole tournament. You saw Dimitrov take a big step forward inside the baseline there for that second serve of 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝖛. It's one spot, if you're playing K, you've really got to try and expose that second serve of his. It's Probably the one weakness in his game. Good slice from K.
30-15.
Kept it so low over the net, stayed so low against the court. So hard to get up and under that single hand backhand pass. It's really going to be a match of who can control the baseline and get inside and press the point with their feet as much as with their weight of shot. The forehand side is normally the side for K that there is going to be an error under pressure. Backhand is rock solid.
Could have gone anywhere.
40-30.
It's just interesting to see K go with the serve volley early in this match. It's not something we see a lot from him. Good pickup, but as you said, Grigor, he could have gone either way on this forehand and just clips the tape. Gets away with one there, Nishikori.
Game Nishikori.
Perhaps an ounce of luck along the way, but the Japanese star levels up.
2 games all.
Terrific crowd in at Pat Rafter Arena tonight. Many of them Queenslanders, and there's a couple of famous Queenslanders in the audience tonight as well. I think you caught up with one of the famous Queenslanders, didn't you, Sam, before the match started tonight?
Yeah, I was lucky to sit down with Greg Norman for a little bit of a chat this afternoon, which was nice. He's done a little bit of work with Grigor. Done a little bit of work with Grigor. He's had him out to his house to train, and as we see him there sitting next to Grigor's former coach, Roger Rashid. Greg and his wife out over Christmas and heading back tomorrow. It's great to see him out back in Australia.
Let's first service.
It was certainly a pleasure for me to sit down with him, and he's promised me a golf game at some point, which I'm going to hold him to.
You better. You don't get those offers too often.
It's a good serve from Grigor.
30 love.
K's trying to get up in the court and take time away. Just that kick serve. He got it so short in the box and kicking away from the Nishikori backhand. It's such good extension out of his serve. Uses his legs well.
40 love.
And that's the one thing that Nishikori can't control. He can't control how tall he is. He's 5 feet 10 inches, 178 centimetres, so he is vulnerable at times to that kick serve.
You've just got to find ways to get it out of Nishikori's hitting zone because he's so good off his hips.
Game.
He is completely in cruise control on serve mode at the moment. Dimitrov on serve leads 3-2 first
3
set.
games to 2.
Quality tennis so far from both players in this match. Grigor has made that adjustment from his second round match. His first serve percentage a lot higher. He's only lost 1 point behind his serve so far in this match, but he sat around that 40% mark for a lot of that second round encounter with Australian John Millman, and already looks like a concerted effort to try to serve a little better. You've got to serve really well when you play Kei Nishikori because of how well he returns. He's up around that 77% mark on that first serve, and if he can serve like this for the match, it's going to make it really hard for Kei.
Nishikori in his first 2 service games has come up with an even better first serve percentage of 80%. So,
well, I think Kei has to serve high.
He does, yeah.
Because his second serve is where he's vulnerable. So he really has to keep that serve percentage up nice and high.
Yeah, that second serve, when you were talking about it before, was in at about 140 or thereabouts. And most of the top players would be looking to swarm all over that and take advantage of it.
Time.
The New Year spirit still with the Queensland crowd, and it's not only a Queensland crowd, they come from various parts of Australia as well, and indeed various parts of the world, to be part of this great festival of tennis over the next month. Quarter-final action at the Brisbane International on serve. Nishikori at 2-3.
It's what he's looking for, though, Dimitrov. That's the sort of point Nishikori wants to play. It's exactly the way Grigor's coach, 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖵, wants him to play. He wants him to take that backhand on up the line, not getting too many of those cross-court exchanges with Nishikori. You don't always have to hit them fast, do you?
No.
To come up with an ace.
That one was 169, but the placement was just perfect. His quickest for the match so far has been 192. Dimitrov has him well and truly covered. In the speed area, at least.
See if we get an idea of what Grigor's going to do on this second serve, his intent for the rest of this match. Well, not enough.
40 low.
Against a lot of players, he's going to get away with that slice backhand low, but not against Kei Nishikori. He was so quick up to that with his feet. Able to spread the court and create angle with that backhand.
Game Nishikori.
Just 3 points against the server so far in this match, which has been going 17 minutes.
3-game salt.
And Sam, you were touching on the fact that Dimitrov's first serve percentage was down, and we also mentioned that his conversion of first serve points was really high. I guess it's a bit of a conundrum for the coach after the match as to how much attention you pay to that sort of thing when he's playing at such a level.
He's so good physically, Grigor. Up for that so easily, but you're right.
15 low.
You see his coach 𝕽𝖆𝖵𝖔𝖘𝖵, but there was a discussion, I guess, around that serve, and it's something that Danny's highlighted that he wants to work on with Grigor, but it's also tough, as you said, to want to take time to work on it when his conversion rate behind the first and the second serve was so good when it was in. So good off that backhand side, Kei Nishikori. The other thing is also, how early in the season do you want to start tinkering with little changes when he's had the season he's had in 2018? You want to just help him get some match wins and build his confidence before you start trying to make little changes in the game also. Get that match confidence up again. That's good. Back in behind him. Take the movement away from him a little bit.
15.
He's so fast side to side, Kei Nishikori. You can make him prop and go back in, change direction quickly back behind.
Looked an out ball. It did dip late, but Renaud Lichtenstein just giving a nod of the head and confirmation.
Mr. changing for right baseline, ball was called out.
Kei wants to have a look at it anyway.
We might as well. This is a big point. He's made a bit of a push on return this game, Nishikori.
All set.
Well
40-15.
in the end.
What price a tiebreak the way this thing's evolving in the first set. It's on serve. Dimitrov leads 4-3 with new balls to come.
4-3. Mr. Nishikori has 2 challenges remaining.
How aggressive was he on this last point? Look at him inside the baseline, and then by the time the next ball came, he was up inside the service line. And the best thing to do in that circumstance, go straight at him, handcuff him.
Well, there we see the different variations in the backhand. Nishikori, 100% top spin. Grigor Dimitrov, a lot more on the slice. Almost 3/4 of his ball he's going to the slice backhand. And I think if I was the coach of Dimitrov, I'd want a little bit more variation than that. Just maybe using the slice a little bit too much. I know he's serving well and he's up 4-3.
So what are you happy with? 50-50? Mix it up?
I think so, yeah. You just don't want to give too many backhands to Kei Nishikori in that rally. You want to be able to take it on a little bit more, especially if you're holding serve. Take the game on a little bit more on those return games.
Time.
So the old balls have outlived their usefulness. 7 games for the first set of tennis balls for the match, and out come the new ones, playing with a different ball in 2019. No breaks of serve in the quarterfinal as yet.
Won't be happy with that miss. If you're going to go to the slice backhand there, you've got to get that into the court. And there's the adjustment. One backhand cross court and then take it line. We're going to see a little bit more from that Grigor in this 2019 season, I think, using that backhand line a lot more. It's a good serve from Nishikori.
30-15.
Made a slight equipment adjustment late in that 2018 season with the eye to the new year. Went to a racket that wasn't quite as stiff and a little bit more power.
I should just mention a little technical point here. Renaud Lichtenstein is calling Grigor Dimitrov. For quite a while we called him Dimitrov. We've had different pronunciations. On the ATP website they have a little thing where you can actually hear the player say his name, and Grigor says it Dimitrov. So that's the way we're going.
Game Nishikori.
And the way Kei Nishikori is going, we might be heading to that almost inevitable tie-break.
4-game salt.
We're at the point in the set now where the pressure starts to go up and both players looking really good on serve, but do we see any little adjustments on return? Played 4 return games each also. Slight adjustment. Nishikori looks like he's pushed himself a little bit further back in the court here. Good serve though.
He's almost back behind or level with the Brisbane side, and that would be a good 3 metres behind the baseline.
Yeah, just trying little things. You haven't quite had a look in. So see, look where he starts. He's going to take a big jump forward from that starting position.
Faults. Sorry, Grigor, I called late, but it's far. It's like this. Mr. Dimitrov changing the call. Right service line. Ball was called out.
Well,
It was a very decisive overrule.
it was, but I think Nishikori was upset even if the ball's out because he made such a good return on it.
Ball stands, second service.
We'll see him come up for the second serve return. Shot.
He got away with one, but the one after it was brilliant.
15-all. Mr.
Right.
Dimitrov has 2 challenges remaining.
Shanky the first one, but these top guys, they move so well to that forehand side and you're able to turn the pass both ways. If you don't really press them for time or space, it's a tough wing to hit a good approach to win the point.
There's that kicker.
Didn't that get up and away from him?
He nearly had to turn himself into a pretzel to get to that.
Well, and he's trying to do the right thing, Nishikori, to take advantage of or combat his size a little bit and combat that kick serve. But see the put away fine, but it was just set up by that kick serve. It just got up and away and just kept rising.
And again,
40-15.
same recipe, not quite as high that time, but same result. Just 121 kilometres an hour, but getting big on him.
Yeah, and you're confident if you're Grigor Dimitrov, seeing how much that ball's getting up.
How good's the standard here? 2 great players battling it out.
40-30.
Dimitrov, 10 winners, 4 unforced errors at the moment. That was the 6th winner for the Japanese star. He's had more unforced errors, but that's a combination of 16 winners and 12 unforced errors so far between the 2 players.
See if Nishikori goes for the same play, tries to come up, or if he drops back a little bit this time.
Whoops.
Yes.
He went for a lot there,
Nearly killed the line judge as well.
Dimitrov. Can be tough to smash inside Pat Rafter Arena sometimes. Ball blends in a little bit with the ceiling.
This is the most he's been in trouble on serve so far. And that's a good way to get yourself out of trouble.
Advantage Dimitrov.
He's had 4 aces, and a couple of them have been that wide slider to the Nishikori forehand.
This is such an important week for Grigor Dimitrov to find that confidence again.
The Bulgarian tested but passes the test and keeps his nose in front in this first set. It's 5-4.
Dimitrov leads 5-4.
Sports fans, they support their big stars wherever they go in the world, no matter what the sport is.
And he's so important to tennis, Nishikori. Have him back fit and firing, not just in Japan, but through the whole Asian continent. To have a player of his caliber at the top of the game.
Great atmosphere inside Pat Rafter Arena, night 4 at the Brisbane International of 2019. Peter Donegan and Sam Groth in the commentary box enjoying this one. Nobody really thinks this man, well, nobody apart from the ATP ranking system, that this man is the number 19 player in the world. He's better than that. He's been as high as 3. Nishikori's got his hands full, but he's handled the task well so far.
Love 15.
And the applause is for the ball kid, who caught that clean as a whistle after the ball nearly hit the roof.
When your serve's not your strength, this is where the pressure really starts to go up in a set. Well, that was interesting. We saw Nishikori was going to serve volley, and Grigor was gone about 4 meters around to hit a forehand as hard as he could. It's definitely tense out here. It was a good change up from K there. A little bit more height and spin on these two balls. This one got up a little bit on Grigor, around the frame, not quite getting back quick enough off the baseline.
Yet again looking to follow it in. He's got Dimitrov thinking. Well, what a vital stage of the set this is now. It's been nip and tuck. Dimitrov probably just looking a shade the better player, and now he's got a little look at proving that. up and had a peek and fell back on the Bulgarian side of the net.
40-30.
I like that point from Grigor. Going 1-for-1, slice and topspin backhand, but 𝕍𝖃 just so solid from the baseline. Oh. Knows he was lucky that didn't pop over.
How aggressive will he be on the second serve? It won't be quick, we know that.
Yeah, Nishikori.
Well, that's a good hole. At 30 all, match was hanging in the balance, the set hanging in the balance. But now we're getting closer to this tie break, which seemed inevitable. He's still just lost the 5 points on serve for this set, which is now 36 minutes old.
He's been impressive on serve this week so far.
Very.
Very impressive tonight, but just very impressive through the course of these 3 matches he's played here so far also.
Interesting that he's just had a little patch where he's had a couple of unforced errors. Now, these are some numbers that you're looking at.
Yeah, that was... Well, he's in the positive column for the topspin against slice now. Yeah. That was a lot further down. So he's made that adjustment on the backhand. About 50-50 now. Topspin to slice. I think that's a much better ratio for him against 𝕍𝖃 off that backhand side.
See, there you go. Ask and you shall receive. That's what you wanted. Ooh.
But what you didn't want is an unforced error and a double fault at 5 all.
Even though he had that opportunity at 30 all, it's just been a little loose in the last couple of minutes. The winners to unforced errors ratio has closed up. He's only +2 in that regard now. Needs to be careful.
Let's. The service.
And you talk about if serving's not your strength as you get later into the set, that the pressure goes up. But if returning is, that's where you can add the pressure on your opponent. And it's exactly what he's doing here to Grigor Dimitrov.
Well, this really has come out of nowhere in the last 6 or 8 points. A couple of wild ones from Dimitrov. Nishikori to get a break at a critical stage. 2 chances. It's been a smart play. It's worked effectively for him.
30-40.
Yeah, it's a good one too. Slider out wide to the Nishikori forehand. Wait for him to start to move towards the open court and go back in behind. Still 1 break point to save though for Dimitrov.
He went for the line. What a brave shot on break point. Fortune favoured the Brave.
Deuce.
Well, he certainly went for the line. Not easy to create this angle from the middle part of the court, and just dips it inside the right-hand sideline and gets it back to Deuce.
Advantage, Dimitrov.
He's really getting the serve to lift off the court to Nishikori. Even though that's a slider out wide, it's getting up and away from the Nishikori forehand.
Deuce.
Not an easy shot to get around. Hit that low forehand back off into the backhand side of Nishikori there. He's doing well, Nishikori applying the pressure in this game.
And look at Nishikori getting in on the second serve and forcing the issue. The match is now 60 points old, and it's 30 apiece.
Well, it really got in and got up over that first backhand return. Sets up this one down the line, but it was the return that did the real damage.
A third chance for the first break of the match for the world number 9. And the break comes, and it comes the way of Kei Nishikori. And in a moment, he'll be serving for the first set.
Nishikori leads 6 games to 5.
That's the first time that he has led in this set, and it's a good time to lead in the set.
It was a good adjustment from Kei Nishikori right before this point. We've spoken about his return position. He actually came back another 2 meters and didn't jump forward. He's been coming back and then going forward into the return. That time, came back, stayed back, got a good hit on the return, and was able to dominate that second forehand. Doesn't have the weapons of some of the other players inside the top 10, Kei Nishikori, but there's a reason he's there. Unbelievably good from the back of the court, but also unbelievably smart in the ability to make those adjustments.
It's been an outstanding first set in the quarterfinal of the Brisbane International. Just 1 point difference between the players. Nishikori has won one more, and that gives him the opportunity of serving to close out the first set.
Votes.
He controls the middle part of the court so well.
He's on the attack. He's changed it up.
15 love.
If you give him a chance to get the first hit from the center part of the court like he gets here, look at this, up inside the baseline, middle part of the court, closes the net really well. It's an easy volley.
50-0.
Just overcooked it. He didn't have to go for as much as he went there. Nishikori.
Probably just a bit of adrenaline the way the last 10 minutes has evolved. He's really feeling as though he's got the upper hand, after it was probably Dimitrov who looked the more likely, only fractionally though, earlier in the set. Everything starting to go the way of Nishikori now.
30-15.
Hits his forehand better when he's going into that backhand side, I think, Nishikori. Saw Dimitrov in trouble, closed down the net once again.
Dante Bettini looking a little happier now, and well he might.
Let's for service.
Yes. I heard.
Mr. Dimitrov changing the call. Left service line. The ball was called in.
But he's also walking, so I think in his own mind he knows that this is good.
Yeah, it's just a bit of hope here from Grigor Dimitrov.
Call stand. 40-15. Mr. Dimitrov has one challenge remaining.
What a high quality set it's been. 47 minutes have elapsed. 2 chances for Nishikori to close it out.
Game and first set.
That was an exceptional finish to the first set by the Japanese star. And he's the first one on the board. He takes the first 7-5. Kay is going to take the opportunity of a comfort break, and if it's good for one, it's good for the other.
I didn't know we had something.
That was a high-quality set of tennis, but Dimitrov, Sam, just went off the boil a little bit towards the end, and coinciding with that was a raise in the intensity of Kei Nishikori.
Oh, 100%. It was a great set of tennis from both players. Just that slight drop from Grigor Dimitrov in that 11th game at 5-all. If you looked at the stats, you can't really separate them too much, can you? 12 winners, 11 unforced errors. He's actually better in that stack, Grigor Dimitrov, but what surprises me and also impresses me, it's Kei Nishikori trying to take the match on. He's made 9 net approaches to Grigor Dimitrov's 4, and I think if you're Grigor Dimitrov, you want to be the one pressing the issue and not having Kei press you.
And at that stage, it looked as though Dimitrov was the man in charge, but things changed. He got one off the frame there, but what about that? The follow-up was superb.
Well, there's some impressive tennis from both men. But it was just Kei Nishikori, as the set went on, his ability to change direction, hit winners, and he knew this was going to be a tough match, and it means a lot to get that first set. Played here a lot of years in Brisbane, Kei Nishikori, and looks like he's loving being back.
You got the towel here, Cam.
This is his 23rd match in Brisbane. 15-7 is his record here, and having reached that final in 2017 where he bowed down to the man he's playing tonight. I think one of the significant numbers, just looking at the difference towards the end of the first set, Sam, the number of points that Dimitrov was able to win when his second serve was required. It was really high early. It was, I think, 100% in the first couple of games. Got down to 58% towards the end of that set.
Well, 58% is normally pretty good.
Yeah.
But the stat that he'll also want to lift is the points he's winning on Nishikori's second serve. You can't allow Kei to be winning 75% of points behind his own second serve as well.
I agree, 58% is good, but when it's up around 80 and 90, not far before that, then perhaps that was where it did drop away a little bit. Kei Nishikori, the man in the box seat then, the world number 9, having taken the first set of the quarterfinal.
Second set, Dimitrov to serve. Sits quickly, please. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝖛 of France awaits in the semi-finals after he was able to dispose of Yasutaka Uchihama of Japan earlier today.
It was really just that one loose game from Grigor that let him down in that first set. Double fault, a couple of unforced errors, and then Kei Nishikori up to the challenge on the break point. Well, there wasn't enough on that second serve, and Nishikori was so quick to jump all over it and get on top of the point. And then climbs all over this second forehand. Great depth on this first return. Holds the second forehand well. It's too easy.
There's nobody quicker. That's been his hallmark for about a decade now.
15-13.
Well, it was the ability to throw the first lob super high, picks the right direction, but then to get the first pass down at the Dimitrov toes. And as you said, there is nobody quicker in world tennis than Kei Nishikori. That's an impressive shot. Way behind the baseline. Needs to keep holding his serve here, Grigor. That little lapse at the end of the last set. Needs to keep himself ahead in the count.
Well, especially seeing he's got himself the advantage of serving first in the set.
He's so good from that centre part of the court, Kei Nishikori. I know I keep saying it, but he just dominates. If he gets first hit from that middle part of the court, you can't beat him because he controls it so well.
Advantage, Dimitrov.
197 kilometres an hour for ace number 5 for Grigor.
He'd definitely like a few more free points on his serve.
Yeah. Just needs something to inspire him at the moment.
Let for service.
I know it's easy to read things into a situation when you see a scoreboard and a scoreline. He just looks like he's gone a bit flat for the last 10 minutes or so, Grigor. you getting that sense?
Yeah, he hasn't got that same sharpness of his movement, same weight of shot on his ball. But a lot of that's also being caused by what Nishikori is doing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's too good.
Even he can't get to that one.
Advantage, Dimitrov.
This is good. Took the opportunity to come forward. This is a really good field shot from both players. Dealt with that well. Under pressure there, Grigor Dimitrov. That's a better serve.
Yeah. The kick serve again, which has served him well throughout this match. He might be perhaps a little flat, but he's got the first game of the second set on the board.
And that was a better second serve than the one he hit 2 points earlier to the same side. The one 2 points earlier that Kay was able to get on top of and hit the winner up the line. This one just kicking away a little bit more and rising a little bit further.
And also had reasonable hum for a kick serve on it. 154, they're hard to handle when they get up to that speed.
Well, Grigor's going to have to push the note a little bit with this second. Because you just said that second serve win possession and percentage has been slowly creeping down since the start of the match.
It got down to 58% at the end of the first set. It's now 56%, so he's 9 of 16. And Nishikori has been able to handle that category of his game really well. He's 75% of points won when the second delivery's been required.
Dimitrov needs to really try and turn that stat around in this second set.
59.
It's hard to put pressure on Kei Nishikori if you aren't winning points on his own second serve.
A little.
50-0.
He gets the help of the net cord, but it was going to be the right shot anyway. He's trying to take that backhand on a little bit. Worked on that a lot through the off-season, made the equipment change to help it.
There's what we were talking about with the respective speeds. Look at that, 189. So it's certainly not lightning quick by the stretches of the top level players, but the placement just exceptional. Not quite enough on this approach. 144 km/h winner backhand. And after that point, you mentioned Grigor possibly being a little bit flat through the end of that first set and the start of this set. He took a little bit of a jog back to the back wall, jog back trying to get himself going.
Let's first service.
Yeah, that generally tends to be a good sign when you read that sort of body language, that the player is feeling it and he's trying to get his feet moving and also present a positive attitude to the man on the other side of the net.
Well, it worked for him. But he didn't mean to hit this forehand like that, Dimitrov. He'll get a break point, but as you said, he must be able to feel that he's a little bit flat, and he's trying to get that going. And he's at his best when he's a physical beast out there, Grigor Dimitrov. He always comes into this tournament in Brisbane in his best physical condition, and he's trying to get himself going, and he's got himself a break point. First one for the match.
wide.
Dimitrov.
And the break comes, and it comes early for the Bulgarian.
It's a bad miss from Kay.
Dimitrov leads 2-0.
It's unusual to see him go for the serve volley, break point down. He hit such a good first volley, guessed the right way with the pass from Dimitrov and had the open court and pushed it wide. But full credit to Grigor Dimitrov there. It was a lift of his intensity levels. He lifted physically. Gets his just rewards.
Yeah, lifted on the scoreboard too. That'll get him bouncing.
He was so far up the court on that one.
Love 15.
Really climbed on top of that second serve, didn't let it get up out of the hitting zone. It's a great point from Grigor Dimitrov.
How about the angles?
15-0.
It's the first time he's really used the slice up the line also to create this angle then with the backhand. Gets around quickly on the forehand, and it's all the space he'd created with the two backhands before, the slice up the line and then the topspin angle. That's a great point. Well constructed.
That was the implied pressure of what happened the previous point, that he knew that Nishikori was going to be well inside the baseline and almost halfway between the baseline and the service line. It drew the error.
Well, this is the end we saw him get broken from in that first set.
Isn't this what the top players do? And it's what stands the top players apart. They put the break behind them. There's nothing they can do about it. And then get on the attack. The best way and the best time to break back is immediately. He's got two chances to do that. Of his convictions to go for the shot, the big moment. That takes some ticker.
30-14.
Well, under pressure to come up with this passing shot, gee, that is a big backhand. 152 kilometres an hour down break point when you're trying to consolidate the break from the game before.
This would be an enormous hold in the context of the match if Dimitrov can pull this one off. His coach on the right, bottom right, 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝖛.
Advantage, Dimitrov.
But he's not happy with himself there, Kay. He had a hit on that forehand return. He knows how important it is to get the break back early, not let Dimitrov build in confidence.
Game, Dimitrov.
That is massive. Down 2 break points. Dimitrov finds a way of getting out of the hole and leads 3-love in the second. Sport at the top level is about creating chances and then taking them after you've created them. Nishikori did that, had the opportunity of getting the break straight back, but this man was able to bare his fangs and just grit his teeth and somehow come up with the hold. Dimitrov leading 3-love after Nishikori took the first set in 47 minutes, 7 games to 5. High quality quarterfinal it is in the Brisbane International of 2019.
Any seat for now, please, guys? Just behind you.
Goes without saying that all games at this stage of the match are important, but especially for Nishikori. Go down a double break here and the set basically is gone. And it doesn't look as though he's got any intentions of letting that happen without a fight.
30-11.
Oh, well, there's such a good crowd in. There's such good energy about this match, and you think it's an ATP 250, it's a quarter final.
Doesn't feel like it. Feels bigger than that.
I just think also it's the only head out these guys are going to get before they head to Melbourne. They're not going to play another event next week. So this could be it. This could be the last preparation they get before Melbourne Park. So it's so important to get a match of this calibre and try and get through it this early in the season.
And you can do what you like on the practice court.
40-15.
They all work so hard at this level, but there is no substitute for match play at this time of the year. And as an addition to that, there's no substitute to match play against a quality opponent.
I think the last part of your comment is the big one also. Both guys are definitely looking down the other end at a high quality opponent. It's good.
Yeah, Nishikori.
It's a good hold.
Ball change, please. New balls. Dimitrov leads 3-1. Ball change, please, ball boy.
Put the disappointment of not being able to get the break in the game before. Put a really quick hold of serve together there, Nishikori.
For those people who might just be joining us for the first time in this week in Brisbane, we saw the new Dunlop tennis balls there, different balls being used this year. What's the talk around the locker room about the ball, Sam?
Well, I think they're behaving very different at night to they are during the day. And especially here in Brisbane, they're quite quick the first couple of games. They're fluffing up quite a bit after that, getting a lot heavier once they get older, but a lot heavier at night also. It's a lot more humid here in the evenings.
Love 15.
Well, he had to battle in his last service game, Grigor Dimitrov. You would think new balls would help him on serve. Needs to keep his nose ahead. He's got the break.
And there's what we were talking about when the first serve goes into play. It's such a weapon for him. That second serve points one percentage is getting to worrying proportions now for Dimitrov. 38% in this set. 50 for the match. Well, it was way higher than that after 3 games. It's been continually on the spiral. was this. This is right off the top shelf. 23 shots, and didn't they love it?
It was an important point, because this backhand up the line that set it up, got up so quick with his feet here. He gets back so well for this next smash, though. That's over a lot of guys' heads, that one. As you said, he moves so well for a guy that's 6'3".
40-15.
A thing of the past. He's on top of his game now, Dimitrov, and he leads 4-1 in the second.
Dimitrov leads 4-1.
And I think his reaction after that point was really telling.
We defended his second serve well. Spoke about how that stat's been dropping and dropping. Isn't he using his backhand so well in this match, Dimitrov, now?
And just watch him after he lands this backhand. Watch the reaction from him. There's that energy that had seemed to have disappeared for a little 10-minute patch of the match, and now it's back.
That's what makes him such a quality player, isn't it? The ability to recognise that he was a little bit flat and try and do something about it. Really be proactive with getting himself up and about again.
This man has got his groove back. The energy's back for Grigor Dimitrov, and it's starting to show on the stats sheet as well. In the second set, 11 winners, 3 unforced errors. That's part of the reason that Dimitrov leads 4-1 in his bid to level up the match and take this to a third. And I think everybody in this packed house at Pat Rafter Arena would be happy if it does go to a third, with the possible exception of this man.
Yes. Love 15.
Now all of a sudden, Kay's the one who's looking a bit flat. I noticed that when he came out at the change of ends, it looked as though the energy had kind of drained from his body a little bit.
He looks down, doesn't he?
He does.
All of a sudden, that one break of serve, and he's got on his own back a little bit here, and he needs to pick up his energy levels.
50-0.
Oh, gives himself a little fist pump. He can obviously feel it as well. That's what's so good about this sport, though, isn't it? It's a one-on-one battle and the ebbs and flows of a match.
30-15.
He won't be happy with himself there, Dimitrov. He'll feel that Nishikori is a little bit flat. You feel that energy of your opponent. The last thing you want to do is go and give them 2 cheap points like that in a row. You want to keep making them feel as bad as you possibly can if this is how they're feeling.
Got away with the win, but he was standing on the spot.
He's got a really slow walk about him right now too.
He does, and it was noticeable as he came from the chair after the change of ends. It is a warm night. It generally is this time of the year in Brisbane. Just seems to have hit him all of a sudden for the moment.
Game, Nishikori.
But he gets away with a cheap game nonetheless.
Dimitrov leads 4-2.
Well, he gets away with a cheap game there. And it'll be interesting to see how he attacks his next return game. But he's down a break. I would have liked to see him, when he gets that hold there, you know, a little skip back to the baseline or something just to try to get himself going a little bit, because at the moment, Grigor Dimitrov's well in control of this set, and he's going to have to do something to change that, Nishikori.
I want to explore this with you after the next point, from the player's point of view when something like this happens.
That's cheap from Grigor.
So there will be times in a match, Sam, from a player's point of view, where inexplicably all of a sudden a bit of a funk comes over you?
Yeah, sometimes you lose a bit of momentum or a little bit of energy. But you can see Kay there dancing around his toes. You've got to do something to try to get yourself going. And that's it. We see it right there. So a cheap point from Grigor on that first point, double fault. All of a sudden, Kay's jumping around a little bit, plays a point, big come on. We saw it from Grigor at the start of the set. He tried the same thing, tried to get himself running around. So the players are very much aware of it themselves. See if he tries to climb over this second serve again, gets right up in the court. We tried to take it on. I don't mind that at 𝕼𝖉𝖺, but just some funny energy levels from both players at the moment. Oh, yeah. Well, if he is feeling a little bit flat, he hasn't shown it in this game, has he?
No, not at all.
A noticeable lift as well. You don't hear Nishikori yell come on too often also, so he's definitely recognised it in himself, and that's a great backhand up the line.
Let's for service.
2 break-back points.
Let's first service.
That sound from the train came at a reasonably inopportune time. It was probably as the ball was almost getting onto the strings of Nishikori. I don't think it affected the shot at all, but
I think sometimes the train driver does this as a bit of a joke, driving past the Queensland Tennis Centre here.
Maybe he's watching the coverage.
Yes.
And if you were just listening to this match, you can hear from both players the come-ons trying to will themselves on. Means a lot to them early in the season.
Wow, how good was the defensive lob from Nishikori?
Advantage Nishikori.
Well, I think Dimitrov thought it was going to go out, and then it was too late before he could get up a hit in the air. It was already dropping inside the baseline, and a little bit of an error in judgment halfway through that point has led to another break point for Nishikori.
serve again, and Nishikori can possibly get this thing done in two. He's revitalised again. We're on serve in the second. It was a puzzling few minutes, and it may have been the shortest lull in tennis history from Kei Nishikori. He came out without any energy before that sixth game. Somehow he managed to hold, and then somehow he managed to break Dimitrov. So we're back on serve again. Nishikori serving to level it up after taking the first in 47 minutes.
Well, he's quick.
Not bad for a guy who's 190 centimetres tall, 6'3".
15 love.
Well, you talk about being a strange couple of minutes. Great drop shot. That's the first time he's used that during the match, and Grigor Dimitrov is incredibly quick. But we're back on serve here, and it all comes from that cheap game that Nishikori's energy levels was down, and Grigor just gave him an easy hold. In that sixth game, a couple of errors, and it got to 4-2, and all of a sudden Nishikori, he gave a bit of a lift in Grigor's service game, and then Grigor wasn't quite able to switch back on and flick the switch and increase his intensity levels back off. You can't afford to switch off for any amount of time against a player who's number 9 in the world.
(30-15).
Nishikori's points won numbers off serve still exceptionally strong deep in this second set. He's won 75% of his points when his first serve has gone into play, and he's held his second serve points up there as well. 70% for the match. That is exceptional stuff. Dimitrov has to do something about that number.
Yeah,
but he's also got to rely on getting a second serve every now and then.
Well, he's only had a look at 2 second serves in this set.
That
was an impressive lift from Kei Nishikori to get this back to 4-all. He looked in a bit of trouble there at 4-1. He went a bit flat. He was getting a little bit down on himself. Now all of a sudden pressure right back on Grigor Dimitrov. He needed that first point. He really needed that first point there, Dimitrov.
Seventh ace cracks the 200 barrier. And that's not an ace, but set up the point perfectly for him. He could do with just a little cheap game here.
He needs to try to keep those points short, and when the point is short, he needs to win most of those shorter points.
That'll help. So this game may not go much more than about a minute.
Much more the sort of game that he wants to play, though. You heard him say there, it's all right, it's okay. He's actually okay with that miss. I know it's because it's 40 love, but it's the intent. He's got the intent to try to take the point on.
Correction, was good. First service.
Renaud Liechtenstein of France, the man in charge in the chair tonight. And it is a pretty cheap game. Just what the doctor ordered for Grigor Dimitrov. And he has his nose in front, 5-4 in the second.
5 games to 4.
Crowd in here at Pat Rafter Arena tonight on pretty good terms with themselves on night 4 of the Brisbane International. They just had a conga line going up in the grandstand, so they're keeping themselves entertained between games, and these men are keeping them entertained on court. It's been a high quality match. Nishikori now serving to level up at 5 games apiece. 1 break of serve apiece in the second set.
He's been ultra impressive on that serve in this set. 91% of first serves in. He's just not giving Grigor Dimitrov a look at a second serve.
A rueful smile from Grigor. He's had about 3 of those tonight, and every single one has popped up, had a look, and popped back to his side of the net.
Well, it was always going to be a tough pass. Nishikori was so close to the net.
In he comes, and there it goes. So each player has a bit of a breather on serve as they steel themselves for the fight at the end of the second set.
5 games all.
Well, it was at the same stage in the first set. We saw an adjustment on return from Nishikori, mixed up his position in the court a little bit. See if we get anything a little bit different from him here. 5 all. Can't do anything about that.
15 love.
He needs to make first serves here, Grigor Dimitrov. He's only winning 46% behind the second serve in this set. First serves are going to be key.
Oh. Nishikori was half expecting it was going to come down the line, but the cross was superb.
I'm not sure he was able to go down the line. It got so low and so short, but his ability to control this angle. Stepped up the pace on that forehand, Nishikori. It's dangerous here for Dimitrov. It's a good point again from Nishikori, but the last time we were at this point, a couple of unforced errors. Let's see, coach, 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝖛, he looks tense.
And Kay just walked towards the bunker, and the look on his face tells you that he knows the importance of this point. Gave him a free one, as it turns out.
Yeah, you don't see that very often. A rally ball backhand. That is normally just bread and butter for Nishikori. Let's Dimitrov get away with one there.
That was pretty tight.
He lets him straight back in, doesn't he?
Yeah, 135 kilometres an hour. At a big moment, fourth double fault of the match for the Bulgarian. Yet again, we're back to this tipping point. Needs a first serve. You could feel it coming. You could just feel that coming. What about that? Two double faults at a critical point of the match. And now Nishikori with the chance to be the first to 6 and to get to within a game of victory. History repeats itself. Dimitrov in the 11th game again finds himself staring down the barrel. Nishikori about to serve for the match. the 11th game of the first set that determined the outcome of that battle, and it may turn out to be the 11th game of the second set that determines the outcome of the match. Grigor Dimitrov handing the opportunity to Nishikori to reach the Brisbane International semi-finals and set up a date with France's 𝕼𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝖛.
Well, it wasn't 100% clean, but
15 love.
It'll do the job. Once again, just not quite enough on this return. Just got him going the wrong way.
Look at the body language now. It only got flat for a period of around about 3 or 4 minutes, but you have to admire the way that he recognised that and was able to get himself out of it.
Yeah, he's been really impressive.
Let's first service.
He looks so flat at 4-1 down in this set. Looking at him now, you'd have no idea that he was in that situation. So good.
It's been a really impressive display. 𝕼𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖆𝖛 is going to know that he's going to have to be at the top of his game. He got better as the year went on in 2018. And now he's got 3 match points for a spot in the semis in Brisbane.
Let's for service. Game, set and match. Nishikori, 2 sets to none. 7-5, 7-5.
Injury kept him away from Australia last year, but it's good to have him back. That was super impressive from the number 2 seed. The Japanese superstar gets some revenge for what happened in the final 2 years ago. And now he sets up a date with 𝕼𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖆𝖛 in the semi-finals. That was a performance of outstanding quality, and what he was able to do in his own mind and with his own body midway through that second set is a credit to him. The 2017 champion bows out, but what he's got under his belt there is a very high-quality match as he prepares for Melbourne. But you can only, Sam Groff, be full of admiration for this young man and what he was able to do. That was a performance of very high quality.
That's exactly what it was. That was extremely high quality from Nishikori. Through a lot of that first set, it looked like he was the one playing second fiddle to a Grigor Dimitrov show. But he stayed with him. He got that break at 5-all, made some adjustments on return. He looked a bit flat at times in that second set. But the way he got himself up, and yeah, I mean, he's playing good tennis. And you said through the back part of 2018, he really, really came back strong, and then now back in Brisbane and once again playing really, really well. You can see why he's back to number 9 in the world.
He's reached the quarterfinals at the Australian Open 3 times, 2012, 15, 16. And so his ranking would indicate that he'll do well if he reaches the quarterfinals again. But on that performance, it would not surprise if he was to go a little bit further than that. But he's in good shape at the start of the season, and that will keep the Japanese fans pretty happy. It'll be interesting to get his take on how he did feel throughout the match. But he's in the semi-finals. And now let's head courtside to hear from Nishikori. Here he is chatting to Brett Phillips.
Well, Kay, well done. That was physical. We expected it to be that between you and Grigor. Just give us your own thoughts on that match.
Well, yeah, of course, I was expecting a very tough match. You know, he's always a great player and many tough rallies. And I thought we both played good tennis, and I'm very happy that way I played today.
We felt watching that it might be set for 3 or 4-1 down. Take us through your own thought process at that stage, because you worked your way back beautifully and finished the match extraordinarily well.
Well, yeah, I was expecting to go third set. You know, second set, he's playing better, and I was down 4-1, and you know, I had to do better than the few games that I played in second set. So, but yeah, I think last couple of games played barely solid, and yeah, very happy that I beat Dimi today.
You spent a long time in the top 10. 2017 was a tough year with injury. You dropped outside the top 20, and last year you got yourself back inside the top 10 with some great results. Do you feel like now you're really sort of getting back to that groove where it took you up into the world's top 5 a few years ago?
Yes, yeah, I'm trying to go top 5. That's my next goal. Yeah, last couple months of the last year, I was playing great tennis, and I think I'm doing again now this week. So I'm very excited to start this year, and yeah, I missed this tournament last year, so I'm very happy to start the season from this tournament.
Quick thought on 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝑛. He'll be your opponent in the semi-finals.
Well, yeah, I thought it would be nice if I could play Uchi with Japanese player, but Jeremy's a great player, big forehands, very aggressive player. So I mean, always a tough player. So I will recover well today and tomorrow, and hope I can be ready Saturday.
I think for those here and those watching around the country and the world would have appreciated the level of tennis tonight. Well done, and look forward to seeing you back here Saturday.
Yeah, thank you.
Top 5 in the world, the goal for that young man. And as he said, he's already been there. He reached number 4 in the world in March of 2015.